Hey, what's up, my little tattletales? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if you are Prince Harry, you are letting that chopper sing and you are not holding anything back. Y'all, what am I talking about? If you guys don't know, Harry is testifying right now against the tabloids. He is expected to testify for today and tomorrow. I believe, the next 2 days. Now, there was a whole big scuffle. What's up, Sussex squad? How y'all doing? I hope you're doing good, right? Harry is letting that chopper sing, and he is literally doing what we all thought he was doing, getting revenge against Piers Morgan for what Piers did to his mother and what he did to him. And guess what? I do not blame Harry at all. Now, here's the thing. Harry showed up on Tuesday. The tabloids tried to act shocked that Harry didn't actually show up to court, even though it was already known weeks ago that Harry would be coming on Tuesday, not Monday. So basically the tabloids were just trying to get headlines. I mean, that's what they do. But anyway, right? Let's just get straight into this. And I'm going to give my commentary. Also, I'm going to do a double upload today because Kate is acting up and we got to talk about it. Anyway, they said that, Prince Harry said that the vile British tabloids had a devastating impact on his mental health by portraying him as an irresponsible thicko, prone to underage drinking and drug. Now, listen to this. On Tuesday morning, the prince became the first member of the royal family to be cross-examined in court since 1891. That's right, you better let that chopper sing. Harry claims that journalists working for the Daily Mirror, Sunday Mirror, and People magazine hacked Harry's phone. Ooh, this is getting good. Y'all know I'm reading this real time. Also, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you do like reality TV drama, my Keeping Up with the Kardashians season 3, episode 2 review is up. I'm recapping the whole season. All right, let's get into this. Harry claims that journalists working for Daily Mirror, Sunday Mirror, and People hacked his voicemails and illegally used private investigators to obtain stories about his private life. He told the court he bought the case because he wanted to hold incredibly powerful British newspapers to account because they masquerade as journalists but had hijacked journalistic privileges for their own personal gain and agenda. Now, here's where it gets deep. And I do have to say this. I still don't understand why they hacked in the phones, because they could have just heard gossip and given their opinion of stuff, right? Because that's what I do. I give my opinion of everything and everyone. I know some of y'all are like, boo, we don't want your opinion. But that's what I do. Why did you need to hack into it? Why did you need to invade their privacy? Why couldn't you just give your opinion pieces? In Britain, do you need like royal sources? What was the point of taking this little boy that been through so much and honestly trying to make him crack? I still don't understand that. If you guys are from the UK, Sussex squad, can you explain to me like how that goes? Do people not read headlines? Like in America, we have the National Enquirer. It's all BS. It's all opinion. We all know it, but people would still pick it up, and like my grandma would still pick it up in the newspaper aisle, and while we're waiting to check out of groceries when I was a little kid, and read that mess. You know what I'm saying? But let me know if that's not the way it is in the UK. Anyway, Harry said this. As a child growing up in teenage years, and his teenage years were rough ones. He said, as a child growing up in teenage years, I was under press invasion for most of my life up until this day. He said some of the editors and journalists have blood on their hands, and through their work, they've caused pain, upset, and inadvertently death. He gave a long written statement. He alleged Piers Morgan, the former Daily Mirror editor, had subjected Harry and his family to vile personal attacks as a result of his decision to bring the case. Harry said he was left physically sick by the idea of Piers Morgan listening to private messages left by his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. Ugh, Piers Morgan is so gross. He said his voicemails were hacked by journalists while he was a schoolboy at Eton, and as a young man, he had to hide in the boot of a car to avoid paparazzi. He said his relationship with his ex-girlfriend, Chelsea Davies, was undermined by constant surveillance by the tabloids that left them feeling hunted by the media. And you know what? I can see that, because didn't he say that his relationship with Chelsea Davies fell apart because at the end of the day, that was one of his loves before he met Meghan. Meghan was perfect, but at that time, that age, he thought Chelsea was the girl for him, but Chelsea couldn't take it. Her family couldn't take it, and he wasn't going to put them through it. His relationship, he was deeply affected as a teenager by tabloid rumors that his real father was an army officer, James Hewitt, saying said stories were hurtful, mean, and cruel. He said tabloid coverage shaped how the public and army colleagues viewed him. He said, I was facing judgment and opinions based on what had been reported about me, true or not. I expected people to be thinking, he's obviously going to fail this test because he's a thicko. I guess that means dumb. Let me just say this, right? The barrister for Mirror said that Harry was operating in the realm of total speculation and could not back up his allegations that stories in the Mirror came from phone hacking, other illegal activity. The lawyers for the Mail actually insisted that in reality, many of the Mirror stories had come from an official spokesperson or had been lifted from other newspapers. He said everyone here has enormous sympathy with the level of press intrusion you've experienced in your life, but it doesn't follow that the unlawful activity was involved. But Harry said the paranoia he felt as a result of the articles in the Mirror's tabloids, which revealed details about his relationship with ex-girlfriends and tracked him down to remote corners of the world. He pointed to a highly suspicious number of invoices to private investigators relating to stories about him, as well as mysterious behavior on his mobile phone as evidence of illegal behavior by the Mirror group. He also suggested the difficulties between him and his brother Prince William were once exacerbated by tabloid coverage. He said one article about the disagreement between the two, featuring Harry calling a former royal butler a two-faced ish, was a sort of story that seeds distrust between brothers. Harry said the UK tabloids had no respect for individuals and would do anything to get a story. He said you become a victim of their system. They claim to hold public figures to account, but refuse to hold themselves accountable. If they're supposedly policing society, who on earth is policing them? Even the government is scared of alienating them because the position is power, this is incredibly worrying to the entire UK. Now, I will say this. I find it interesting that the Daily Mail is trying to say that you can't blame us, Harry, because your family sold you out. We didn't hack anything. The royals sold stories about you. Your father sold stories about you. Camilla why is nobody, well, I know why nobody in the Royal Rotunda is saying it, but why is nobody in the American media saying, they keep saying they got it from official royal people? Who were those people? The fact that Charles and Camilla, and William especially, Jason Knopf, Kate, are helping the media destroy Harry. You know, I read this article the other day when somebody was like, oh my God, Meghan and Harry did everything wrong to alienate themselves from the family. The fact that people don't see that Harry's lot in life was always to be the sacrificial lamb. And when Meghan came around, she was to take her place as a sacrificial lamb's wife. And the kids were also. He was created, and his whole purpose was to make William look good by any way possible. And every single time, William's temper, his penchant for roses, every time something happened, Harry was the one that would be held accountable. Harry was the one they sold. Why isn't anyone actually saying, good for you, Harry? I'm glad you got out before the Queen passed away. You guys saw the writing on the wall. You saw what Charles saw your use. Camilla saw your use. Even your brother, who threatened to protect you and who promised to protect you and love you, they all threw you under the bus. That was your word. And then they thought they were going to do it to your wife. And that's when it triggered everything that he had gone through with his mom. Everything, it triggered him. And he said no more. He gave an interpretation, getting back to Harry's testimony, of how the British newspapers created personas for all members of the royal family. He said you start off as a blank canvas while you work out what kind of person you are and what kind of problems and temptations you might have. You're either the playboy, the prince, the failure, the dropout, or in my case, the thicko, the cheat, the underage drinker, the irresponsible drug user. The list goes on. He said well, you know what? It's true. But Harry, and I get it, it's his meme all, but Queen Elizabeth is the one that started that. She started it with her sister Margaret, and it kept going. Again, everybody wants to give the Queen props. Listen, Charles is not far from the apple. I know I messed it up, but you get what I'm saying. The apple didn't fall far from Granny's tree. Anyway, the prince said every relationship came under immense pressure, with private details of his conversations and secret meetings with Chelsea and Carolina Flack mysteriously appearing in newspapers, with photographers seemingly always aware of his movements. I always felt as if the tabloid wanted me to be single, as I was much more interesting to them and sold more newspapers. Wouldn't it be interesting? Something just popped into my head. Wouldn't it be super, super interesting if the tabloid's saying, we didn't hack your phone, the royals were hacking your phone, and they were sharing that information with us? Think about it. Every conversation you had, it's their line. Were they recording all of Harry's calls and then giving, right? And then giving the tabloids access to it? At least that's the story they're going to go with. He said, let me just repeat. I always felt as if the tabloids wanted me to be single, as I was much more interesting to them and sold more newspapers. He also alleged Piers Morgan had recently targeted him and his wife Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, with a barrage of horrific personal attacks and intimidation, and said he was presumably in the retaliation for bringing a legal claim against the Mirror. He said Pierce's criticism, Pierce is such trash. I can't stand that guy. He said Pierce's criticism was motivated by self-preservation and the hope that I'll back down before being able to hold him properly accountable for his unlawful activity towards both me and my wife. Both me and my mother during his editorship. I'm sure he wanted to throw his wife in too. The case continues, with Harry due to give further evidence for much of Wednesday. You guys, this is too sad to actually see how they literally, and again, let me be real, right? Harry, he was a mess when he was younger. He was vile. He was racist. He was a party child. He had a lot of things. But you know what? Harry grew up. He grew up. Everybody grows up. Oddly enough, because of him being written off as the black sheep, the fodder, right? The pawn that's dispensable, it allowed him to have space to really explore, discover how vile he used to be. I know he was always had that thing of his mother and great personal skills with people. But at the end of the day, he said some vile things about people. He's done some vile things. But you know what? He was a boy, and now he's a man, and he took responsibility for everything. And he grew up, and he found a woman that saw the work he did on himself, and it made him into a better person. You guys, I hope Harry wins. And even if he doesn't, I'm proud of him for standing up and doing what's right. In these moments, and this is what William, what Charles, what Camilla, what Kate don't understand. In this moment, yeah, he wants to win, but he also wants to make his mom proud. And just like Diana didn't win the chess game against her, even though she always seemed to be 10 steps ahead of them. She didn't win this chess game. Some people say they even took her out of the game. She had to forfeit. She stood up, a lone voice against a crushing corporation, monarchy, untold power. She stood up and she said her truth. And I'm proud of Harry for doing the same thing. You know, whether he wins or loses, Harry's making his mama proud. He's making his mama proud. Y'all listen, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye.